I have a question. In reference to what we've been talking about, building the community, how is we as African American Muslims are supposed to think about the greater question that a lot of African Americans are moving towards in terms of reparations for Black Americans?
What was the question again? How should we think?
When they gonna give us up 48% of music?
You know what? I have a, you know, I feel like we mentioned a lot of the double standards that we've been subjected to here in this country. And, you know, we have more successful people in this country as Black folks more than ever as far as financially. And I think the spending power or the buying power that we have annually is like, what, 400-something billion or more? And they're saying that according to the statistics, that if we were to have our buying power together, we can make up the 16th the equivalent of the 16th largest country in the world. So as far as reparations, and when you think about the history of this country, that's the only thing that they are blocking us from. That's the only thing that they, you know, that they could give us. And if you look at the studies about the disparity between white wealth and black wealth, I mean, it's so great. They have enough that they could just give us a percentage as reparations, and they will still be well off, and they won't do it. So my idea is like, we got enough buying power, we can pay our own selves. We can do as a collective. We are the same mind. We can pay our own selves, man. You know, I mean, you just think about. We always talk about on the Black Imam's Roundtable that we are a microcosm of Black people in America, as Black Muslims in America. And what do our people do all the time? You know, as soon as they hear about these billion-dollar jackpots and stuff, you got all these people spending their money hoping that they can have a 1 in a billion chance to win this jackpot, and they will be faithful with it. You know what I mean? And if you do the math on the stats of how much people contribute to that kind of stuff every year, if we put that in the pot together, just as a group right here, then we're on our way to getting our own reparations. Because really, I think this is my view, one of the problems that we had as Black people in this country is that we've been responding to trying to excite a society that never cared about us. Never. Never. And the only reason that they're not openly lynching us and killing us today, because it's not fashionable. It's not fashionable. But right now in 2022, you can hear stories about Black men being lynched. How was it that this guy went to the FBI building in Cincinnati and pulled his gun on FBI agents and had an hour-long or hour standoff before he got killed? We couldn't even imagine that. Soon as we step on FBI grounds, we gunned down. Like, that just shows you the big racism that still goes on. You know, we still trying to appeal to a society that never even wanted to accept us. You know, freeing us from slavery was never part of the plan. It was never part of the plan. And I advise all of you, if you haven't, there's this great book you gotta read. It's called the 1619 Project. The 1619 Project. You know, it's an audible book, and you can read it, you know, and it just tell you, like, it's documenting our history from 1619 up until now. And you read some of this stuff, man, it just makes you, you know, we don't be one full of rage, but you can't help but not be enraged when you realize the reality of this country, what they've done to us, and we're still 400 years later trying to appeal to a system that was never made for us. Never made for us. Because we have the equivalent of our people as a Holocaust, and that's just our people. Then we're not even going to talk about the indigenous Muslims, man. You know, but that's, I know some people here, but that's part of my history too. You know, I'm Sakoni and Okinichi heritage. You know, so when you see the light skin, it's not that I'm white. Right, I'm a soul brother first and foremost, so y'all don't get mistaken.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just spelling all the wonders. I'm soul brother number one out here, man.
Did you bring your black card?
I bring no black card, man. Listen, need no black card. But just, you know, this system has never been for us. And if you look at all of the laws, they had the black code, they had the slave code, they had Jim Crow laws, they had segregation. You know, all of these things that when it came for us to have rights and have civil rights in this country, they did everything in their capacity to block it.
And gave it to everybody.
And gave it to everybody else. And now these people, they're trying to equate their movement with the civil rights struggle.
They're talking about it's the same.
It's the same. Nobody never sicked no dogs on those people. Fire hoses, National Guard. These people are able to walk in school as drag queens and read stories to your children. And everybody's celebrating. And we come into school, they want to frisk us. Our children in their school, man. You know? So that's my view on reparation. We got enough money to pay our own selves. We just need to start thinking like that. You know, I know we're pressed for time, but you know, even though Elijah Muhammad, we always talk about Elijah Muhammad, right? You know, he had a plan that he had a 25-year plan. You all know about that? He had a 25-year plan that he said that this country should allow us our own state and give us enough support for 25 years so we can be on our own. You know, and put to the side what the beliefs were. You know, but that right there is something that we should be looking forward to, that we've had before. When we move together as a collective, we put our money together, we put our families together, and we build something. And everything in this country that's worth something is what we've done. It's what we've done. And all they did was steal our ideas. This 1619 project will bring it on every facet. I mean, from medicine, everything. They stole everything from us, man. You know? So we got enough money to pay our own selves, and we should start thinking like that. We don't even need that system. You know? Sometimes when you have, you ever seen a bridge? Sometimes with a bridge that's too difficult for them to blow up, what they'll do? They'll build a bridge right next to it. We need to build a system right next to this other one. I'm sorry about that. I'm ready, man. It's Black, you know this is Black August too, right? You know about Black August?
What's Black August?
Black August, we supposed to be, man. All right, go ahead.
You know, let me ask you a question. How many of you plan on leaving this country? Raise your hands. Really? Your family, I'm talking about you, everybody, be out. Really? All right. Everybody, no, just one. Okay. So, two. Let me explain something. Since that's the case, you ain't going nowhere, you better make it suitable. Right? A lot of times, we toy with our ideas that we're not really ready to struggle for. You're wasting time. Since you're not going nowhere, then you better learn how to make this one work. Unless you're going to roll. If you're going to really roll, you know. I remember, guy says, come to a close friend of mine, says, let's slap box. He said, no, you don't get to practice with me. You get the real thing. And that's slap boxing. Do you understand my point? In other words, we have to be dead serious about what we're talking about, right? And until we get there, you can rah-rah all you want. But when that fire turn on, it's going to separate the men from the boys and the women from the girls. So for us, since we ain't going nowhere, we better get everything we can in the situation we is and figure out how to do that. So since you're in America, you better learn politics. You better learn economics. You better strive for higher education. You better get careers. If you want to change your situation, for us, we'll say, I can't do this, so I'm just going to stay here. Nope, that's not an option. what we're going to do, what we're working with. And this is really our biggest mission, that we all come together and we start to build. It has been done. It was done. I grew up where we had, in the black community, Muslim community, everything we needed. Money, real estate. The only thing is we had a corrupt leader and a corrupt doctrine. But now we got Islam. So what's our excuse now? Okay, he's a swindler. I watch. How many of y'all saw the bishop, my man?
Oh, the dude got robbed?
Y'all know the bishop?
Yeah.
The dude got robbed?
Yeah.
Y'all need to start watching some TV. I know this. I know what I say is not soon little. You need to pay attention.
Don't watch the
Knows
video.
about the George bishop.
When you just say bishop now, that's it. It's bishop.
What about TD Jakes?
Man, the bishop. Right?
Bishop.
Right. So the bishop, he cracks me up. Like, I don't want to go viral for this, right? But the bishop looks like he's full of it, right? I don't know what's in a man's heart. But the bishop is doing his thing.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know if he's doing it. Maybe not. Yeah, he's real. But listen, the bishop, I gotta go to his church. Yeah, I'm going to visit the bishop one day. Because I want to see if the bishop
Oh, they gonna clip that.
is really...
Watch TV, I'm going to church.
I'm not sure. The bishop don't have more people in this church than we got in this room right now.
You can tell.
I'm willing to, we don't bet, it's haram, but just as a figure of speech, I think I could put my life savings on it. That it ain't that many people. But the bishop is working that stuff. You go on his thing, 10,000, 20,000, 44,000 views. That's money. The bishop got on his Gucci, Louis Vuitton, get you shot. We need to take a page out of his book. Bishop pushing the, what's they call it? Bentley and the Porsche and the truck. And he don't got that kind of support. He's using every resource at his disposal to get his message across. Follow my point. We make fun of that, but we ain't doing nothing. We're struggling to pay the bills in our masajid. We're struggling to have Islamic schools. We always sending our children to somebody else to educate them, while we making fun of the bishop. Instead of learning in the right way to use your resources. If the bishop's full of it, fine. You're not going to be like the bishop. So I say this. I challenge all African American Muslims. I grew up as a kid in the Ansar Law community in Brooklyn, Philadelphia, different places. To this day, I haven't seen an African American Sunni Muslim community established like that yet. And I'm talking about 42 years. Organization, structure. We watch the nation. Show me one African American Sunni community that has the influence, the infrastructure, the business, the economic, the education of the nation Islam.
So why? But why?
I tell you why. You know what the biggest thing we learned is? How many of you studied overseas? Anyone? Okay, you did. What usually happens? Where you studying?
Jordan.
Jordan. Oh, that's perfect. That's easy. You just gave us like slam dunk, alley hoop, 360. How many blacks you saw Jordan study?
5.
How many of them are really black?
Black American?
How many of them really black?
All of them.
Black.
All of them.
I'm not talking about color. I'm talking about they black.
They black.
So they remain black?
Yeah.
Where they at? Here in America.
One is in Cleveland.
What are you doing?
He getting reestablished.
Okay, good. He's black. Right, good. Right. No, he studied. I'm gonna show you something. Seriously. Go ahead. That's one.
The others, I don't know where you are now.
What do you think if you go over and study and you learn, enjoy with scholars and ulama and all of that, right? What do you think, because he said it, those who know better, shouldn't we all know who they are in our condition? Think about it. So when I say, are they black? A black man should realize his responsibilities. All of you women, ain't you tired of black men who don't take care of their responsibilities? No, seriously. Not to attack anyone. When we go overseas, most of us go overseas and try to become the people where we went to study and forget about our reality. And the dalil of that is go in our reality, where we from, and see our performance. You hear black imams. How many of us are from the inner city? Raise your hand. In the heart of the black community. Raise your hand, be honest. Or got family. What is the condition of the black community here in Ohio and Columbus? The inner city. Are they prosperous? Are they educated? Are they economically, religiously trained? Are they learning Islamic science? Do you have a school? Where's your Sunni school? African Americans built. Where is it?
You don't have
But you have people who studied, who learned, who, you get my point? This is a challenge for us, not a criticism. Because if you go study with your counterparts who studied overseas and from other places, they went and they started building institutions. This is something I know. With all of the people that we studied with over the years, when they go back home, they build. We come back home and become selfish. I learned, I'm knowledgeable, I studied with the sheikhs and khalas, that's the end of it. What are you doing? Where's your work? And it's not an individual, but here's the point. Then we'll Islamicize our way out of it. How come they're trying to show off? You need to. We need you to get busy. All that I'm hiding, you know, how can you, come on, man. I thought you was black. Be real. Be real. So there's a problem. It's a challenge. When we go to educate ourselves, we go do business. Our job is to bring that back and build our communities. If you ain't doing that, what are you doing? That's that individualism he was talking about earlier. And I already know the answer. That's why I said it, because we study overseas. We study with people. And it ain't enough of us doing it. Right? The very struggle that we have, and this is another discussion we got to get out of here. Where did most of y'all study in Jordan?
I'm not, like, what's it called? I didn't go to a center, but we went to...
Corruption?
Yeah.
Okay, tell you. So you learned certain things there. I'm gonna give you, now we're just talking, having a discussion. Remember I told you when you say stuff, we have real discussion. So there, in corruption, you would have been most likely under a certain movement, right or wrong?
Right.
This is obvious. We don't gotta go too details. You learned a certain creed, right?
Right.
Obvious. You learned a certain fiqh, right? Yes.
Possibly.
It's Jordan. It's not possible. What happened? Come on, keep it real, right? You learned a certain spirituality, right?
Yes.
Is that what you learned there being manifested in this country from any of that? Be honest. From us. Really manifest.
As a group or individuals?
As a group.
No.
And even as individuals where they're dominantly out, where everyone is aware of them and knows them, access to all of us.
No.
We failed. You see my point? Now, is the opposite of what you learned and what we learned, is that manifest and available for everyone? From our people and our communities and our neighborhoods? We're failed. You get my point? We failed. It's obvious. And these answers I'm really asking, these are rhetorical questions. I know the answer. So once you go there, I'm like, stop, get back. Right? No, stop.
I'm not going to answer
Seriously.
too.
No, what I mean by that, we have a responsibility that we're not doing. And to me, for us, that's our biggest problem. He said we got money, but what we doing with it? Flossing. I'm chilling. Neighborhood is jacked up. But you got M's, dripping with M's. Y'all know what M's are, right? We better connect to our youth. M's is millions. You know, Fat Joe said something. You know, they had this online, that's what everyone's fighting. So they had this Irv Gotti and the Shantae drink champ stuff. Y'all read it, right?
Yes. Yes.
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
we're black. This is real stuff in our community. That's what our kids are listening to. You keep acting like you got on the dean and you forgot where you came from. That's why you're losing your kids. While you acting like you Sheikh al-Islam, your kids is watching drink champs. No, I'm serious. It's real. We can play games all we want. If we're serious, you better pay attention. He's going to learn the Quran, and he's going to go, after he learned the Quran, he got to go to the people who've been watching drink champs. That's what they're doing.
You really got to be versatile.
I'm being honest. This is real stuff. And so he said something. He was talking a relationship there 20 years ago, and he's complaining about it. He said, to me, it was most significant. He said, I got you have a problem. How many M's ago was that? Listen to that statement. He said, how many M's ago was that? That means how many millions then we done made and you still tripping over that? All right, let's expand that. You're from the projects. He from the projects. He from the projects. And y'all got all these M's. Why the projects still look like that? Did we ever stop to ask that question? You just said how many M's ago. So when was the verses? Dipset and no Fat Joe and Ja Rule. How long was that verses? Last year? Don't tell me nobody remembers.
Last year.
Then he said last year.
Last year.
That one didn't interest me. I didn't.
Right. So he said, since then, how many M's happened since then? Do you, on this, they got sponsors, Pepsi, the liquor sponsors, all that. They're doing this podcast and all that stuff's behind them. And if you listen, it's white men funding all that. That's the community we live in. Islam supposed to rectify that. But we use our Islam to not even deal with it. Was that the way of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Did the Prophet say, Antum fil jahiliyyah, la ubali bikum? You are people of ignorance, we don't pay you no attention. Did the Prophet say that? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was engaged. He was in the people and they were walking around the Kaaba naked. Did you forget your seerah? That was the Prophet. How did we get so self-righteous where we forgot ourselves? And that's us. When you walk out, that's what they're listening to. That's what they're learning on the campuses. That's what they're engaged in. How are you going to connect? And when we come, we're not even ourselves. I'm coming to you like I'm from Saudi Arabia or Pakistan. And you know what they say? What they say? That's cat. That's what they're saying to us. And then we look. Now look at that 50 years from now, we keep doing that, what's going to look like. 50 years, we don't engage. We forget our communities. What's going to look like around the country 50 years from now? So now you're talking about your great-great-grandchildren. For me, for people who learn, I trace from our Islam back to Prophet Muhammad with an unbroken chain from my mind. But you know what I name? If I go from teacher to teacher to teacher, I name everybody but us. That's problematic, isn't it? But everyone else, when they name, their name themselves. You name your shuyukh, you name them. Where's you in that? It's always someone else. But when they name, who do they name? Them. You don't see a problem with that? You don't see where we're falling short? So are we going to continue that? If you look at, and I'll close, I can go on with this stuff, because it's serious. Somebody got to talk to us with real talk. One of the biggest problems that hurt our community with the Salafi Dawah, I'm going to say it, one of the biggest problems that hurt our community is it made us enemies of ourselves. To the point, by now, they have funded from Saudi Arabia so many African Americans that graduate from the University of Medina. And all they do is fight each other. Because no one went to build for us. Everyone went for themselves in general. So they came back, I graduated, and my sheikh is this, and this one sheikh is this, and this one sheikh is that, to become gangbangers and servants for others. This is real talk. And guess what we did as Ahl Sunnah? The same thing. The same thing. And this is a problem. And to the point that if someone doesn't say, hey, stop, we're going to destroy ourselves. We're going to destroy ourselves. If someone doesn't wake us up and make us realize Islam is not devoid and abstract from your reality. Islam comes to change your reality. Now you got to be brave. And I'll stop with this. We have to be brave enough to understand. We have to be brave enough we cannot be cowards. Seriously. We cannot afford to be cowards. Not the men, or the women, or the children. There's too much at stake. And when we wake up, the real sad part about it, when we wake up, some of us may have to die. But as long as you're sleeping, no one really cares, because you ain't going to do nothing anyway. You're just talking. But when you wake up, and you realize your responsibility, and then you start doing it, you're going to really see the image. That's when you're going to get challenged. That's when you're going to see that really we're not your friend. Really, we want to annihilate you. Because they'll settle for an Islam that's not Islam at all. They'll settle for that. That's fine. Y'all Muslims, but y'all ain't doing nothing. Wear your clothes, talk to your broken Arabic, do whatever you want to do. No problem. It's fine. Go over there, kiss your friend's hands, kiss his feet, and whatever else you want to, we got to be honest. We don't care about that. But go do something for real. Start building your neighborhoods. Start teaching your people. Start educating. Start changing that situation, and then see what it looks like. And I don't mean to go long, but if we're really having real talk, we can come and we can entertain each other all day. We can sit around and quote the Quran and quote the Hadith. I'm on the Quran and Sunnah. And hey. All right. Now what? Now what? When you're really engaged in building something, you're going to see the change. And it's painful. Some of us just ain't even cut for the work. Some of us really don't want to sacrifice. Some of us are too worried about my own bills to pay the bills of the others. Now I gotta take care of my family. We are family. I am your family. I am your family. It's not just about me. In fact, if I really realize Islam, it ain't about me at all. It's really about you. And you feel the same way about me, and I feel the same way about you. When we do that, this is a whole other conversation. But the point to get us here to want to do that, right? Am I really going to build? Or is just going to be so long as it's comfortable. Long as it's comfortable, I'll work. Once it get a little bit difficult, cut me out. Don't be like that. None of us should be like that. If you get nothing from me, except that, then we gotta be serious. And we gotta live like we talk. We gotta actually live like that. And if you do it, you'll see that thing will just go fast. With the truth. Look at the previous things. When they did stuff. Look at the Black Panthers. Look at the Black Liberation Army. Look at Marcus Garvey. Look at the nation. Look at people when they sacrificed for real what they did. And that's what misguidance and kufr. Dalala or kufr. We agree. What about with Islam? Allah going to give to people misguided and kuffar and forget the Muslims? But Allah's not going to change your condition to what? You change what's in yourself. I'm sorry for. I hope y'all get my point, right? I know it's rough. But we can do the religious part too. We can just act like we shakes. We can do that if you don't want to. Right? We gotta get out.
5 minutes to 4.
What's the program over the next week? Should we just do religious stuff? Strictly religion?
You got an introduction, now you go to it.
So can we go to the other masjid? We have one more class. We want to give y'all a map of the Islamic sciences so we can do this job. From the Islamic side, we talked about the social, we talked about that. From the Islamic side, let's give y'all a map. That we share, inshallah. Barakallahu feek.
Ethan, you need the chairs put up?
No, here's the thing.
So everyone knows where the